But who among them will be the great one, the great visionary like Ron Reagan, who will lead us with common sense and hard work? Take a listen.
I think when you make that decision, it might be well if you would ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago?
Let's bring it to tonight's all-star panel. On the left, we have attorney Joey Jackson. On the right, Adam Geller, former consultant for New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, Fox News contributor Andrea Tantaros. And I'm going to start with you. Is there another one? Who is the next Ron Reagan?
There's never going to be another Ronald Reagan. Republicans need to get over this idea. He's gone. He's not coming back. We can't bring him back to life. But what we can do is we can nominate someone who's going to be strong this year and blaze a new trail. And I think that person's yet to be seen. I mean, I think it's way too soon, Eric. I don't think the front runner, the real front runner and the winner of the GOP nomination is emerged. We're not talking about him yet.
Hey, Adam, the guy you used to work for or maybe consulted for, he's been very, very popular. And now that Trump and Huckabee have bowed out, more and more calls for Chris Christie, governor of New Jersey, to step into the race. What do you think? Think he will?
Well, I think that there's going to continue to be a lot of calls for Chris Christie. Whether he will or not, like everybody else, I just have to take the governor at his word. If he says he's not going to do it, I believe him. You know, he's not going to do it, but it doesn't stop people from speculating and asking because, you know, the Republicans are looking for a new Ronald Reagan. I tend to agree with Andrea. I don't know that another Ronald Reagan necessarily in this field exists. There may be one in waiting. But, you know, the other side of it, and I know Joey's going to love this, is that this year we don't need to necessarily, or in 12, we don't need Ronald Reagan as long as we have the non-Obama. And that may just be enough to get us started here.
Joey, what about it that we see Trump bowing out, Huckabee bowing out, Newt taking some heat from Charles Krauthammer recently? He may be off the ticket now, or at least out of the picture. Who's left?
Eric Bolling for president, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here. Listen, it's a diminished field, all right? And it doesn't really matter at the end of the day which one they put up. Why? Because Obama is going to beat them. And
Mitt Romney raised $10 million in a day. In 2008, when he ran, his big money bomb, raised $8 million in a day. This guy's more popular than ever.
Well, look, it speaks to the field, or the lack thereof, as to why he has the ability to raise that money. If there were other viable candidates, perhaps you would see there'd be a money drop-off and they would be distributing amongst the other candidates.
Hang on. Look, I want to get to all of them. I'm sorry, Ann. I want to get to all of them. Adam, what about Sarah Palin? Very quietly, right?
Hey, you know, Sarah Palin apparently sent out a huge mailer recently.
400,000. 400,000 requests for funds.
She, you know, until she's an announced candidate, it's impossible to say what kind of effect she's going to have on the field. I do disagree with Joey. I think that President Obama is vulnerable. He has just the numbers tell the story, and, you know, we can get into that.
And Paul Ryan today said he was not going to run for the Senate seat in Wisconsin. A lot of people thought that was a mistake, because if you're going to become credible on a presidential ticket, you want to do it from a Senate position, not a congressman's position, right?
Well, who says he's running for president?
Well, I think a lot of people on the right are begging for him to get into it. They
want him to run because he's a rising star, but I think Paul Ryan is smart enough to know, maybe a lot like Chris Christie, hold on, I'm going to wait. I'm going to see how this plays out. I'm going to get some more experience. I'm not ready to run for Senate.
Michelle Bachmann?
You have to. No, Michelle Bachmann is not going anywhere. Neither is Newt Gingrich. None of them are going anywhere. The fact is, you have to start now. You have to build the field work, the groundwork in order to do it. They haven't done it. That means to me there's a diminished field. Obama looks strong. They're not going to be able to beat them. They're on the sidelines because they're waiting for the next time.
Hang on, guys. I want to stay in the GOP before we go. Herman Cain.
I mean, you know, doing great in the debates and adding a lot to the dialogue and discussion. Look, keep one thing in mind about Reagan. Reagan wasn't Reagan early on in the process. Reagan became Reagan later on, and he had the Reagan Revolution. So there may be a Reagan who's either announced or not yet announced.
Ron Paul.
Ron Paul, very passionate supporters. He makes a lot of good points. Not as crazy as he was a couple years ago, but no chance of winning.